Welcome to Chit and Chat, the encouraging one another podcast, where it's always about sharing uplifting, encouraging stories. I'm your host, Jody Sheffield, and where we have real conversations with people from all around the world, sharing their stories, what they've been through, what they've gone through. My mission for this podcast is to uplift and inspire and to remind people that their stories matter. Everyone has a story, and in a world filled with noise and negativity, this place is for honesty and to share hope and human connection with real stories. We shine a light on good and celebrate resilience and encourage one another to keep going. This world needs more encouragement, more kindness, more real stories that remind people that they are not alone. So if you have a story you'd love to share, something you've been through and gone through, I'd love to have you on. Reach out to me and let's get you on Chit and Chat. I hope in this episode and every episode you get something out of it. I just want to encourage somebody out there. We have great people sharing their stories and great music as well. You're watching Chit and Chat, the encouraging one another podcast. Hello everyone, welcome back to Chit and Chat, the encouraging one another podcast. I'm your host, Jody Sheffield. So glad to have you back for another fun, exciting episode packed with music, plenty of positivity, and an interview with someone who loves lifting up and encouraging people just like I do. So welcome to the show. The first song I'm sharing today is by Claire Cunningham, a brand new song that she reached out to me and asked to get it on, and it's called Hold Me While I Heal. This is a deeply personal, faith-centered song about surrender, restoration, and the quiet, unseen work of healing. Claire wrote it as a reflection of her own testimony and spiritual journey. The song highlights the way God works in quiet places, where healing isn't visible yet. Letting go of past pains, hurts, lies, and burdens, and learning to trust that God is restoring in every broken piece in our lives. To shift from feeling alone to realizing you were never alone at all. Claire even includes the Irish line, which I'm not going to pronounce, it means it doesn't matter where I've been, it only matters where I'm going. And she actually sent me a message too, which I'll play too. This is Claire Cunningham.
Hey guys, it's Claire Cunningham and you are listening to my brand new single, Hold Me While I Heal. Came out March 27th, and thank you very much to Chit and Chat podcast for promoting and for supporting this single and other songs and other artists and independent artists like myself. Thank you, much love.
Is cum céin áit a raibh mé. Ní bhhéanann sé ach le cá bhfuil mé ag dul. Agus hiúil mé na strádanna full of seo. Agus níl mé I manure a hillough.
A heart once shattered, pieces on the ground, rising from the ashes, and I'm picking them up. You are the anchor in the stormy seas. I'm growing stronger as I'm down on my knees. You are my shelter. You are my life. You are my one thing. I'm staying by your side. Hold me while I heal. Your arms around me, mending the fragments of my soul. Every tear that I've cried rests to the skies. But with you, I find my way home. The pain I've held tear that I've cried, press to the skies. But with you, I find my way home.
Doesn't matter where I've been. It only matters where I'm going. And I've walked these empty streets. But with my Savior, I'm no longer alone.
You are my shelter, shelter. You are my life, you are my life. You are my one thing, one thing. I'm staying by your side. You are my shelter, shelter. You are my life, you are my life. You are my one thing, one thing. I'm staying by your side.
Remember when music meant something? When the deep cuts on your favorite albums hit harder than the radio singles? At XWPM Radio, we're bringing that magic back. Not the same old overplayed hits, but B-sides, deep cuts, forgotten gems, the tracks from the artists Gen X grew up with, the songs you should have heard. And we're opening the door for the next generation to discover them too. Support our Kickstarter and help us build a station made for listeners who want more than algorithms and repeats. XWPM Radio. Let's bring real music back.
Had a long day? Maybe even a longer week? Come on down to Wine About It, located inside Town Square Mall in Port Orchard, Washington. It's a place where the wine is good and the vibes are cozy and no one judges you for saying, I'll take that one in pink. Whether you need a break to get away, celebrating a special night, just hanging out with the wife, like I have. Wine About It is a place to be. They offer great wines and charcuterie boards. They're located at 1700 Mile Drive in Port Orchard. They have a Facebook page too. Please go follow it. They have a lot of upcoming events, from trivia night to paint and sip nights. So be sure you follow so you don't miss out. Give them a call at 360-443-2473. Barbara's awesome. She loves to chat with you. Wine About It, because therapy is expensive and wine is delicious. Think you're smart? Perfect. Time to prove it. Head over to Kids Up Great Escape and put those expert escape skills to the test. Grab your friends, your family, maybe that coworker who claims they can escape anything. Let's see how confident they are when the clock is ticking. Because once that timer starts, you'll be yelling random numbers and blaming each other for the wrong guesses and arguing about which lock goes to which key and somehow bonding harder than ever. That's team building at its finest. Stuck? No shame. The game masters are there to guide you when your brilliant strategy suddenly disappears. Make it out in time, you might make it on the leaderboard with your team's name on the headlights. So think of something legendary. Ready to book? Call them at 360-633-7512 or head over to kidsupgreatescape.com and book your room today. You'll find them at 9481 Silverdale Way in Silverdale, Washington. They have great rooms to conquer, 3 of them actually: Submergency, Mystical Manor, and for those who can unleash your inner detective, Kidnap County. And there's another escape room under construction, so be sure to follow their Facebook page so you'll know when it opens. Before you leave, check out their merchandise to help you remember that time you were locked in a room for an hour. Coins, pens, apparels, maybe to help you just tolerate you're with for an hour. That's a Kidnap Great Escape in Silverdale. The only question is, are you getting out? There are people in this world with the mission not to be the loudest in the room, not to be the most important on stage, but to be a steady light for others. Today's guest is one of those rare people that I came across a few years ago. And someone out there sharing encouragement, sharing life, kindness, exactly what I do. And Brian Sexton is a man who spent his life building bridges through encouragement from his early years, shaped by wisdom an example by his father to more than 2 decades in sales and leadership. Brian has always had one powerful truth: people matter. Their stories matter, their struggles matter, and most importantly, their victories matter. And that belief led him to create something extraordinary: the Intentional Encourager podcast, a space where real people share real stories, where hope is spoken loud, and where encouragement isn't accidental, it's intentional. With nearly 300 episodes, Brian became a storyteller of the human heart, reminding us that behind every face is worth hearing. Everyone's gone through a journey. He's also an author, a speaker, a man of deep faith, and someone who has made his mission to lift up others, one conversation at a time. So today, I get the privilege of sharing the microphone with him. We get to explore the experiences that shaped him, the people who encouraged him, and the calling drive that helps him encourage others. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chit and Chat, Mr. Brian Sexton.
Hello, Brian. Welcome to Chit and Chat, the Encouraging One Another podcast. A fellow encourager as well. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Well, Jody, this wasn't planned, but I have if folks can see it, I have some swag that I had from the Intentional Encourager podcast that I did for about 3 years. So again, this was not intentional. I thought, I hadn't wore that in a while, so I threw it on today. And so yeah, and it didn't dawn on me till I was coming out here to my little studio to record this that I had the Intentional Encourager podcast shirt on. So, but hey, man, thank you for the invite. I love what you're doing around encouragement and things like that. And so again, my hat's off to you, and welcome back to podcasting where you belong, brother.
Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. My goal one day is to do this full time. It really is. I love meeting people, hearing their story, what they've been through, gone through, people who've encouraged them. So I love doing that. And I wear Hawaiian shirts on my shows. I have 27 Hawaiian shirts. We got to keep it, the warm weather is here in Washington State, so we got to keep it going with some warmer shirts.
Well, it's a robust 81 degrees here in Barbersville, West Virginia today. So almost heaven is living up to its billing. So
I think we hit 56 yesterday. So we'll go with the
there you go.
Lower 50s.
There you go.
Our first icebreaker question is you have to think about it a little bit. But if I give you a 2-week paid vacation for you and the missus, but the catch is she does not know where she's going until she lands. Where are you going to take the wife on a vacation where she won't know until she gets there? That she might like.
Probably somewhere beachy and somewhere warm. I'm not the destination guy. I mean, they're cool and everything like that. Now we are going to Rome for almost 2 weeks. We're going to in October. We're going to go to Turkey, Greece, and we're going to spend a couple of days in Rome. So that'll kind of be a cool trip. But I'm probably taking her somewhere warm and beachy. She's, probably either somewhere in the Caribbean, maybe Hawaii. So yeah, that's
can't go wrong there.
If you ask me, I could care less. I would, if you ask me, it's like, okay, if she's taking you somewhere, honestly, I'd love to go back to Louisiana, back down to West Monroe, where our buddies, the Robertsons, are at, from Duck Dynasty. The food's awesome down there. The people are wonderful. I'd like to go back to Louisiana. And in your old stomping grounds in Arkansas. I love Arkansas. I want to take my wife to Arkansas because there's so much beauty there. Believe it or not, one place I would love to take my wife to, and you're probably gonna be surprised. There's 2 places in Arkansas I really want to take her to.
All right.
I want to take her to Mountain Home.
Okay.
Up near the Ozarks, because it's beautiful up there, nice and quiet, and it's beautiful up there. And I want to take her to Hot Springs. Hot Springs is a cool little town. I got stuck working down there one time, Jody, and they had an ice storm rolling through there, and I kind of hunkered down for a couple of days um, in that little downtown area. That little downtown area in Hot Springs has got so much history there because people from the north would come and hang out there because of the natural spring baths and things like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
You and I are both baseball fans. The Cardinals used to spring train down there. The St. Louis Cardinals used to spring
Yeah, yeah.
train down there. And so, but if I got caught down there in another ice storm, I wouldn't stay at that hotel. I would stay at Oaklawn where the casino is, because that
Oh
thing
yeah.
would not shut. Everywhere else in that town would lose power except for the casino. And at least I'd know I'd get a hot meal, I'd get Wi-Fi. I don't gamble, but I'd at least have electricity and hot meals. So
There you go. When you're in our hot springs, let me know. My parents live
yeah,
near hot springs. I'm sure my mom and dad
yeah.
would love. My mom would make you a meal and a
Well, that'd
heartbeat.
be
So
awesome.
yeah, let me
That'd
know
be
when you're neck
awesome.
of the
Yeah,
woods. I'll
I
pass
love
on your
hot.
information. She loved by
I
meeting you
love Hot
guys.
Springs. Yeah, I love Hot Springs. I work. See, I spent about 8 months working in Arkansas, and I loved it down there. And spent a little bit of time working in Louisiana and loved it. So that for me would be the place. But if you ask my wife, it's got to be somewhere with a beach. So
Away from the mosquitoes and chiggers and
yeah, yeah,
humidity.
exactly, exactly.
Second question: what's a lesson you learned the hard way, but you're grateful now of that?
That I didn't learn to encourage myself sooner.
Mm,
That I
mm,
didn't learn intentional encouragement sooner. Back in 2017, I went through about a 6 month trial where I was out of work, and I faced depression, anxiety, fear, doubt. I really didn't think I was going to work again. And it was a hard situation where um, there were some things said about me that weren't true, and it led to my dismissal. And I thought, man alive, my career's over. 2020, oh, at that time, 22 years of exemplary work, and I thought my career was over. And I did something the first day after I got let go, Jody, that I didn't do again. I got on the treadmill and I listened to preaching, and I for some reason I didn't do that again. And I should have. What I should have done was I should have learned to encourage myself sooner. I should
mm,
have said, okay, things about me aren't true. And so I've got to stimulate the beliefs that I know about the work that I had done, and the person that I am, because people rallied around me. There were people that believe, there were people close to me, my wife, my mom, my pastor, my mother-in-law. They all believed more things good about me than I believed about me. And so I wish I had done that sooner. I wish I had learned to encourage myself sooner, because when I finally tapped in to the real meaning of encouragement, it changed everything in my life. Now I'm thankful I went through that season, but I wish I had learned to encourage myself sooner.
what are some of the ways that you could do that for someone kind of in
Yeah,
a rut right now? What are some ways that people can do that now?
great question. So I talk about it in the book, Intentional Encouragement, the one thing that changes everything. So there's three things that you have to do. First thing you have to do is stimulate. Second thing you have to do is edify. And the third thing you have to do is promote. So I'll say it this way: stir it up, build it up, blow it up. When I'm
Mhm.
talking about it, I'm talking about things that you know about yourself, that you believe about yourself positively. See, here's the problem people run into, Jody, is they believe what other people have told them. And it, people are selfish. People will tell you, one, what you want to hear, or two, something that makes them look good about themselves. It doesn't necessarily do you any good. That's what I've always said. Pats on the back and affirmations are the junk food of encouragement, because they'll fill you up for a little bit, but then when you are hungry again for that encouragement within you, it's gone. Not
Mhm.
unless you continue to stimulate those beliefs about yourself. So let's say, for instance, that I know about myself that I do good work. That when I go to work every day, that I do good work. Okay. What I'm going to do is, when I start my workday in the morning, I'm going to stimulate the belief that I have, and that's what I'm going to think about. And I'm going to say, okay, what are the 2 or 3 things that I need to do today to do good work? Okay, well, obviously I need to connect with people. Obviously I need to be knowledgeable. And the third thing is I need to be timely. So I need to deliver value. And so again, when I distill it down to here's what I know that I do well, then I start thinking about, okay, what are those things? How are those things? What are those 3 things that I can do? I tell leaders all the time, I'm like, if you'll just tell people what you value about them and say, hey, Jody, you know what I value about you, man? You're an incredible connector. I want you to go do that with everybody you come in contact with. I want you to sincerely connect. That person may have told you something you've never heard before. And so all of a sudden you have a V8 moment like, oh my gosh, like this is incredible. And then what happens is when you tell that person what you value about them, all of a sudden they go, oh man. And in many cases, that's the first time in their life that somebody has ever told them something like that. And it is a rocket ship moment. You have just lit the fuse to a rocket ship in that person.
Mm. If you could sit down with any athlete, we'll go discuss sports in a little bit, and discussing an athlete from one of your teams you liked. What were some questions you'd ask him? My favorite baseball player of all time, Ricky Henderson. I love watching him play. He was just lightning on the base paths. Any athlete you'd love to sit down and chat with, and who would it be?
Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr.
Mm.
former Seattle Mariner, former Cincinnati Red. I want to know from Junior. I would ask Junior. I would start by asking him this. Don't tell me about February 10th, 2000. Tell me about February 11th, 2000. February 10th was the day he got traded from Seattle to Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And Junior had decided the backstory to that for you baseball fans that will remember. The Mariners wanted Junior to stay long term. Junior was the best baseball player on the planet. The Mariners wanted him to stay, but Junior had a young family and they were in Florida. His wife and 2 kids lived year round in Florida. He wanted to be on the East Coast. The Mariners thought they had a deal worked out to send him to the Mets. And Junior was like, no, not the Mets. And he pigeonholed him. He told him, he said, you're only going to trade me to the Reds, because he was a 10-5 guy at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the old 10-5 rule? If you had 10 years in baseball and 5 with the same team, that you basically had a no trade clause. So that's how Junior got traded to the Reds. I would ask Junior after what was February 11th like? You put on the number 30 that your dad wore with the big red machine. All those guys that you grew up idolizing, now all of a sudden, Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, Tony Perez, your dad, Davey Concepcion, George Foster, all those guys, Joe Morgan, they're now celebrating you as the greatest player in the sport. I would want to know what that was like. I would want to know how Junior got himself through the hard times of injury, because he was never the same player after he came to Cincinnati. He had, in a spring training game, he was rounding the bases and tore a patella tendon in his knee, tore a hamstring. Great American Ballpark, Jody, in Cincinnati, they were in the process of building that ballpark, and the fences in right field were Junior. That was Junior's ballpark. They were building Great American Ballpark for Junior, because the dimensions in the power alleys in right field and right center field were built for Junior. Because remember, in the Kingdome, Junior went off in the Kingdome because the Kingdome was such a great hitter's park, and Junior would just hit line drives out. And so the Kingdome was made for him. And when they got to Safeco, it was a little tougher for Junior to hit home runs because it was a bigger ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Great American Ballpark was built for Ken Griffey Jr. I would just want to ask him about that. I would just want to ask him, hey, man, was there ever a temptation when you were going through injuries to take something to help you get back faster. Because Junior hit 630 home runs. Junior could have hit 800 home runs.
Yeah.
All that time he missed with injury.
Yeah.
And, Jody, you got to think about it. He was at the tail end of the steroid era and he was clean. Like he was. Ken Griffey Jr. should have been that one guy that got 100% of the vote to go into the Hall of Fame. If there was any guy that should have broken the record for the highest percentage, it should have been Ken Griffey Jr. because he kept himself clean all the way through, had no off the field things. I mean, just the epitome of a guy that you'd want your kids to look up to. So that'd be the guy I'd want to sit down with. Would be
He got hurt in Seattle when he played with the Mariners too. So he lost.
He broke his wrist diving. Yeah, he broke his wrist running into the wall out in the Kingdom. I mean, the way he hit the wall in the Kingdom. And you got to remember too, the Kingdom back then was, man, it was not baseball it was not real sports friendly at all because they had that real hard AstroTurf that the Mariners and the Seahawks played on. And for a time, the Sonics played in the Kingdom, so they were playing basketball there. They played Final Fours there. So, I mean, it was a great multi-purpose stadium, but man, that AstroTurf just had to be like playing on concrete all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Our last icebreaker question. This is icebreaker question. This is awesome, though. I love your insight, input. Our last one is: if you could teach a class on something you're terrible at, what would it be?
Auto mechanics. Auto mechanics.
Okay.
Yeah. You do not want to be working on a car, man. And the funny thing is, I spent almost 4 years in the heavy duty rotating electrics industry. So I sold component parts and complete units for trucks, for school buses. We did some automotive stuff. So that starters and alternators and the component parts to rebuild them in the automotive and heavy duty truck industry. So yeah, I'm horrible at auto mechanics. I can tell you about the starting and charging system. You do not want me putting the starter on your car, nor do you want me to change out the alternator. I can barely jump start a car. I'm decent at jump starting, so
I can change a tire. I could probably jump out a car. Yeah, maybe an oil change.
Yeah. I agree with you there. You could do that, but no, auto mechanics. You do not. I always said this. I always said, it would be like a fat guy teaching a Weight Watchers class. So, like a 600-pound guy teaching a Weight Watchers class. So, Tubby's rolling in here going, you guys need to cut your carbs. And here he is just a massive human being. So, no, you probably wouldn't want me to do that.
Let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself, married life, where you're from. I know you're a man of many hats.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Dive in there, a little bio about yourself.
Yeah, Jody. So, born in Huntington, West Virginia. For those people that don't know where Huntington is, if you've ever heard of a school called Marshall University, or have you ever seen the movie We Are Marshall, that's where Huntington is. Went to school at Marshall University. I grew up in a little town in southern Ohio, right across the bridge from Huntington. Went to school at Marshall. Let's see, most people. The reason the movie was made, and I'll say this about my hometown, the reason the movie was made was because in 1970, November 14th, 1970, there was a plane crash involving the Marshall football team that killed all the football team, the coaches, boosters, people like that. So that was 56 years ago, and the town still never forgets. In fact, Jody, there's a place called Spring Hill Cemetery, which is about 2.5 or 3 miles from Marshall's football stadium. So you go down 20th Street and you go up the hill, and it's at the top of 20th Street Hill. There is a grave up there where 6 football players that they could not identify are all buried up there. And so that's kind of the town's claim to fame, and unfortunately, it's a terrible claim to fame. But that's how the movie got made. The movie's 20 years old now, and so that's where I went to school. It's kind of where I grew up. I have a 25-year-old son that just got married this past weekend. So I have a 25-year-old son and a new daughter-in-law. So they live here in the area. My wife and I in October will celebrate 30 years of marriage. Let's see. As far as yeah, thank you, man. As far as career, I was in sales for 22 and a half years across 4 different industries. I sold food, I sold college, I sold heavy duty starters and alternators, and then I sold for about 15 months. I sold specialty pharmacy services to doctors' offices, and then now I'm 9 years into working in pharmaceuticals in the patient access space. A minister, singer, Bible teacher. I've written 2 books, People Buy from People and Intentional Encouragement. Had a podcast called the Intentional Encourager Podcast. I do some radio from time to time. So yeah, and I'm also studying right now. I'm also in the credentialing studying phase to become a licensed minister in my church's organization. So yeah,
That's awesome.
And I'm a huge Coke Zero fan.
What do you love most about your community, and how has it influenced you in the many areas you cover? And just how, being there for a while, people kind of know Brian, I'm sure, and he's a man of many hats. What's it like in that community where you live?
You know what I love about our community? There is hardly any traffic.
Oh, nice.
Seriously, we have it. Our state has like 1.7 million people in it, and this is what I tell people. I hear people complain about the cost of living all the time. I'm like, well, change where you live.
Mm.
And here's what I would say: do not, and you know this better than anybody, being from Arkansas, man, don't sleep on rural southern communities. They will be some of the best places that you'll ever want to live. You want to talk about, you know, um, like I said, I mentioned Mountain Home. Reminds me so much of Barbersville, West Virginia. And that's why I loved it up there. Um, Hot Springs, Fort Smith, Fayetteville, Rogers, Bentonville. I loved those areas because they reminded me so much of where I live. And Jody, the beautiful part of it is our cost of living's reasonable. Our quality of life is good. And so everybody's like, well, you got to live in a big city. I'm like, why? I mean, you've got so many problems. I mean, I have a nice piece of land that I live on. I have good people around me. And it's just like, I don't have to worry about, I can get an affordable house here. I don't have to spend $3,000 on a 1,000 square foot apartment.
Yeah.
No way. Like you can have the big city. I'll take West Virginia every day and twice on Sunday. And that's the thing too. The groceries are affordable here. You can go to a good restaurant. Um, like I said, that's what I love about our community, man. It's simple, it's quiet. Do we have a lot of the big city amenities? Maybe. I mean, hey, dude, we've got a Target and a Walmart in our town. What more do you need?
Score.
What more do you need than a Target and a Walmart? And we got an Academy Sports. We just got an Academy Sports 2 years ago. So what more do you need, man?
What I like too in those places are the diners, the restaurants. If you could tell me, if I could go visit you and we're taking me to one place to go eat, what restaurant in your neck of the woods would you highly recommend? We had to go here. They get the best tasting, biscuits and gravy or fried chicken or whatever. Where are you going in your neck of the woods?
Well, we do have a place called Biscuit World. So you figure that's why West Virginia. Hey, in all seriousness, you reminded me of something. I was in Abingdon, Virginia one morning. I was listening to a talk show and I was getting ready to get up and get ready to go to work. And I was still kind of trying to wake myself up for the day. and they were talking about the fattest states in America, and they were like, and coming in at number one is West Virginia, and I just did this right here. I just just put my hands up and pointed to number one. Um, Man, I'm probably taking you to a place called Monte Alban, Mexican restaurant here in town that's good. I'm
Mhm.
probably taking you to Tudor's Biscuit World for biscuits and gravy. Um, Probably for Italian food, I'm taking you to a place called Fratelli's that's good. Um, there's all kinds of good places. I'm going to tell you this, and you'll probably remember. And I don't know why I can't remember the name of the little town. There is a road that goes from Hot Springs to Fort Smith. It's like a back road, and um, it's like an outdoors area. There's like camping and stuff like that. There is a little convenience store there that I swear if I go back to Hot Springs, Arkansas, I will intentionally go driving that way. They had the best chicken tenders and potato wedges I've ever eaten, and I've not tasted any better. And
Nice.
I can't remember the name of the little town. I'll have to Google it. But yeah, that was good. But
When
yeah,
the,
that's
when the show comes out, tag them, and we'll maybe give a little PR for them.
well, they had the thing that they had in the middle of their store too. They had, and again, I'm not trying to get political, but they had Trump in a Rambo outfit. That was a little wild. I thought, okay, your colors are showing here, but it was good food. Every time I would go from Hot Springs to Fort Smith, it would take me that back road, and I had to stop there and get that chicken tenders and potato wedges. But that's one of my weaknesses because we got a grocery store here in Barbersville that they make potato wedges. They cut the potatoes and bread them and fry and oh, it's so good, so
Nice,
good.
nice.
I wish I'd went there today and got lunch. Actually, got some potato wedges though. But yeah, it's good stuff. There, listen, man. There's all kinds of places here that I could take you to. I could take you to Jim's Spaghetti. They've got a booth where President Kennedy sat, and they've got a little plaque there where President Kennedy sat in 1960 when he was campaigning for the presidency. He came through Huntington and ate
Oh
at
wow.
Jim's Spaghetti House. Yeah, so
Well, I know the answer to this question, but who's been the biggest encourager in your life, and how did that shape who you are today? I know I'm
my
pretty
dad.
sure it's your dad, correct?
Yeah, my dad, no question. As we record this 2 days ago would have been my dad's 73rd birthday. His impact, I still feel his impact. I mean, he's been gone 12 and a half years. I still feel his impact, Jody. I mean, it's funny because, you know, this past weekend when my kids when Bryce and Bethany got married up in Wisconsin, they had my dad's picture there. And, I was just like, man, I just wish my dad were here to see, his firstborn grandson, his first grandchild get married. And he would have loved Bethany. But, again, my dad made me believe I could do a lot of things. My dad pushed me at times to do things. My dad, encouraged me, and he taught me encouragement when I didn't know what encouragement meant.
Mm,
And so, to me, my dad was the original intentional encourager in my life. And then when he passed away, I kind of felt like, okay, I was 40 when my dad passed away, and it's kind of like, okay, well, um, I'm getting my time right. 13 and a half years my dad's been gone because I'll be 54 in August. And but yeah, Jody, he was the one that taught me. I mean, I didn't know what it was, but my dad was teaching me something I didn't realize and that I would need. And then here I am at 54. My dad was 59 when he died. I mean, I'm in that same wheelhouse that my dad was in when he passed away. And it's like, okay, I get it now. I get all those, and I'm trying to do the same thing with my son. And but I'm trying to intentionally tell him like this is why I'm telling you this and this. My
right.
dad never really told me why. I just trusted my dad. And
Yeah.
I just did what my dad told me to do.
My dad hits 80 this year, and we're going to try here in Arkansas. Our brother's in Colorado. We're going to try all meet together in Colorado for his 80th birthday. And I
That's
think
awesome.
that's how he taught me the most was respect of
Yeah,
people. I said yes, ma'am, no, sir, still today, and even in the military, I get paid. I get paid for a living. I was raised to say yes, sir, no, sir. Otherwise, I got swifting
yeah,
with something. So respecting everyone and manners and mannerisms, and just my dad wouldn't make friends walking into a store with anybody, and that's
that's
kind
awesome.
of
That's awesome, dude. And again, Jody, basic training, there were probably some parts of basic training for you that were probably cakewalks for you because of the way your dad raised you and taught you. And, for a lot of people that go through basic training, they've never had to look a drill sergeant in the eye before. They've never had to look somebody in the eye before. Well, my dad demanded that of me. He's like, when I talk to you, you're going to look me in the eye. And
Mhm.
I did that with my son. I'm like, hey, look, dude, when I talk to you, you're going to look me in the eye. And we've lost that, Jody. We've lost that ability when we connect with people. Man, the social media can be a wonderful place, but it can be a cesspool because we just don't have respect for people. Even when we disagree, we have lost the ability to have civil discourse. And it's sad. And you want to see why society is trending the way it is? Look at how people talk to total strangers behind a keyboard on social media. That'll
Mhm.
tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, for sure. And has there ever been a moment when someone encouraged you without you even realizing it? A word or something you're like, oh, it hit you, and a minute or two later going, wow, I didn't think about that, or some words or an action that you really impacted you.
Something that was just recently. So we were at church a couple weeks ago and I was up front praying and there were two young people. I was just at the altar praying. Just, I wanted to pray that night. I don't care what kind of job you do in your church or things like that. If you're a Christian, you're listening to this, it's good for you to go to the altar and pray. Like it's a good thing to go to the altar and pray. And I was up front there and there were two young people that came up front and they put their hand on my back and they were praying for me. Jody, that moved me. That moved me. And it was almost it was it and the Lord did speak this to my heart. He said, because you've poured into them, now they're pouring into you.
Mm,
And they
mm,
were praying for me. And so, yeah, it was that realization that, you know, just giving, just being kind to them. The greatest encouragement that you can give somebody without encouraging them is kindness.
mm. Yep.
That can be some of the greatest encouragement that you give somebody. Consistency. That's a great piece of encouragement. Because here's the thing, if somebody knows what they're going to get all the time when they get around you, that's going to help them. That's going to stimulate, promote, and edify something in them. It's not the, oh man, well, here's, uh, I just think you're special. Okay, thank you. It's those times when somebody comes up to me and they look me in the eye and they go, "Hey, you said something to me here or you did something for me there." And it's when they say thank you. That means more to me because my dad told me, he said, "Son, whenever somebody does something for you, say thank you."
Yeah.
And Jody, that means more to me than anything when somebody would just say that to me. And I know that happens with you too. I mean, it's you talk all the time when in your post, you'll share things like that people do that inspire you and encourage you and help you. And it's, sharing things like that, man, it just reminds people that, hey, this is what it's really, that's what I value about what you're doing. You're reminding people it's not the big things that really make an impact. It's those small things
Yeah.
that really make an impact.
I had a similar situation at church. I, I, oftentimes I try and close my eyes during worship. I'm not looking around at other people
Mhm.
singing. Just closing my eyes. I was going through all kinds of stuff in my head, and I get this hand on my shoulder, and I'm like, I just kept my eyes closed, and it was like a calming peace for a second. I felt
Yeah,
my
yeah.
butt O'Donnell came behind me, just put a hand on my shoulder. And after the song, I turned around and goes, "Yeah, whatever you're dealing with, you got this, and just kind of prayed for me through that
Yeah.
song." I'm like, "Ooh, that was just like, wow, like a lift off my shoulders." I was thinking of,
Yeah.
oh, it was so powerful, man.
Yeah. Isn't it though? And again, it's not we think, Jody, we think of all these viral moments, right? Everybody wants to distill good things in their life into viral moments and things like that. And I'm like, okay, what did you do before social media? What in the world did you do? How did you share things with people before? We just told people,
Yeah,
and people were genuinely, they were cheering us on and they rooted us on and they did, and it's like, okay, we got to get back to the simple things of life. We've got to get back. You asked me what I liked about my community. For the most part, West Virginia is a pretty simple place. It really is it is a pretty simple place.
nice.
I could leave my house. I could leave my house right now. I know it's going to take me about 10 minutes to get into town. It's going to I know about every trip that I take. If I go to Huntington for science, it's going to take me about 20-25 minutes to get there. It's just a real simple place. And I think in a lot of ways, Jody, we got to get back to the simple stuff, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What does the word encouragement mean to Brian Sexton?
Well, the definition of encouragement, believe it or not, is to stimulate belief. That is part of a definition. If you look up a Google definition, and when I started writing the book, Jody, that shocked me. That definition shocked me because I never thought of it that way.
Mm,
I always thought of kind word, pat on the back, um, doing something nice for somebody. I always thought of it as an action externally instead of a internal action. See, that's what we forget about encouragement. It has to start here with
hmm
us before it can ever go outward. You can never pour into anybody from an empty bucket. That's why you have to encourage yourself first.
Yeah,
And you have to do it intentionally. You have to do it on purpose. And so what encouragement means to me is stimulating those beliefs, those positive beliefs. You got to get those negative beliefs out.
for
You
sure.
got to that's why positive belief stimulation flushes out that negative stuff. My wife and she was talking about something. She called me a little while ago. Something was frustrating her. I said, "Why are you letting it bother you? Why are you letting it bother you?" Because when you let something bother you, you're giving it a preeminent place. I tell my son all the time, I said, the most valuable piece of real estate that you own is between your ears. You don't let anybody have that. That is only for you and God. You let the Lord work on your mind. Bible says renew your mind. The Bible says transform your mind. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
hmm
Okay. That's why God gave it to you, is because it's for you and him, nobody else. And so when you stimulate those positive beliefs about yourself and you start filling up your cup internally, then Jody, you can start filling other people's cups. So if you and I were together and you said, "Man, Brian, you got a Coke Zero. Man, I'm kind of thirsty. I'd like to have some of that Coke Zero. My bottle's about half empty here." Well, Jody, if I'm going to share that with you, I probably need to go get a full bottle. I probably need to go get a bottle that's full so that you and I can both partake of this.
hmm
It's going to be hard for me to satisfy your thirst on a half empty bottle. You might go, "Well, I just wanted a drink." But you might have wanted more,
Right.
and I might have wanted more. And so again, that's what encouragement means to me, is I've got to stimulate, edify, and promote every day those positive beliefs I know about myself. I got to stir them up, I got to build them up, and I got to blow them up. And
You
so that way I'm full.
getting weighed down as a pastor. I used to watch Jeff Walling. He's a youth pastor. He shared a sermon about a backpack. He's on stage, and this boy keeps bringing him rocks, and the
Yep.
backpack's getting heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. You know, at times we just kind of let those rocks just weigh us down.
Yep.
We don't cover much. Our drive is zero. We just let that weight, whatever it is, distractions, negativity, it just kind of weigh us down. And until we unload that, you're in trouble.
I don't want to be gross here, but it reminds me of something. Whenever we use the restroom, we go to the restroom, the first thing we do is flush something. Okay? Because again, this world, and I'm going to say it this way, people will bring you their crap if they can dump their crap on you.
Mm-hmm.
You've got it. That's why you've got to flush it. You're gonna make mistakes. We talked about Ken Griffey Jr. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring this back around. We're gonna go from bathroom talk to Junior. Okay, it's just the way my mind works. One of the greatest traits an athlete can have is amnesia. Because look how many times a guy strikes out in a year. A great hitter. A great hitter in 600 plate appearances, guys are striking out now 150, 160 times in a year. If you're thinking about that 0 for 4 game that you had last night, the first time you go to the plate tonight, you're more likely to make an out or strike out because you're still thinking about that 0 for 4.
Mm-hmm.
I was a pitcher in high school. First home run I ever gave up was my junior year. This kid just crushed one. And I was like, man alive, I've never given up a home run before. I gave up more home runs. Okay, so what? But if 36 years later, all I'm thinking about is the little second baseman from this school in southern West Virginia that took me deep,
Mm-hmm.
that my dad went and got the ball. He hit it into, we had an ethanol plant across the street from where we played high school ball. And that old ethanol plant, my dad saw the ball laying there after the game, and he goes, "Hey, let's go get that ball." I'm like, "You mean the ball that I threw that kid hit about 430 feet?" "Yeah, that's a great idea, Dad. Let's go get that ball." And we did. And but again, if 36 years later, all I can think about is that kid that hit that home run off me,
Mm-hmm.
man alive, that'd be a terrible way to live life. So again, we're going to have trouble. The Bible tells us this, Jody.
Yeah.
In this life, you're going to have troubles. But you know what's so great about encouragement? Again, what I love about what you do around encouragement is you remind folks intentionally. You are an intentional encourager, by the way. You're very much an intentional encourager. You remind folks that, hey, look, in this world, you're going to have trouble. In this world, life is going to give you things that are terrible. You're going to see death and destruction all around you. Stay focused on what matters.
Yeah.
And again, brother, I tip my proverbial cap to you. You remind people all the time about that very thing. Like, hey, we've got to stay focused on what really matters, and what really matters is making sure that we spread. You've got the mission. My focus is on other things, but at one time I was like, I want to spread as much encouragement as I can, and I still do. But now it's I'm going in a little different direction with things, but again, man, you just know how to do it, and you know how to let people know, hey, we can all row this boat together. We just got to focus on where we're going. And I appreciate it. I value that about you very, very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, my goal has always been to encourage somebody per show.
So let me ask you something. I'm going to turn the tables on you for a second. When did you realize, what was the point in time that you realized that encouragement was where you needed to take your gifts and abilities? Because I know it wasn't just, and it may have been a seminal moment for you or something like that, but when did you realize you wanted to hone in specifically on encouragement?
I just believe everyone has a story. And hearing, I've done 150 shows, not as many as you done over the years, but everybody has a story. You know
That's
what
why
they've
my
been,
hair, that's why I've got shorter and shorter hair now.
what they've been through, what they've gone through. You know,
Yeah.
I've talked to people who battle addiction, and they're passed out in their kitchen, and their kid had to call 911. I've talked to people who've lost children. My nephew passed away at 1 year old. My best friend's son at 16 died. I talk to people who've been sex trafficked. Everyone has a story, and that story can impact someone else's life. And so when you connect the dots, everyone's story can matters. Everyone's story connects and speaks to people's life from all over the world. And that's what I think is, I love First Thessalonians 5:11. Encourage one another and lift each other up. Period.
Yep. Yep.
That's what I try to do the best I can. And people, oh, how many views do you have? How many likes do you have? Honestly, I don't give a rip. If I
Yeah.
encourage one
Yeah.
person, that's all
Yeah.
to me that matters. People get
Isn't that
monetized.
great?
I don't care about monetization. If that comes, it comes. But if I encourage people and share the gospel and share the love of Jesus, however I can, that to me it's what matters the most.
I love it. Isn't that great? So I'll share something with you, and I'm so thankful you recording these video interviews, because I had a childhood friend when I was doing the Intentional Encourager podcast. I had a childhood friend. We grew up together, played ball together. When we were freshmen in high school, Andy ended up moving to the Raleigh, North Carolina area. His dad got a job down there, and that's where he finished high school and things like that. Well, he ended up coming back to our community. We reconnected years later. Um, we reconnected at a Fellowship of Christian Athletes basketball tournament. He was the FCA director for this area, put on it. My son was going to a Christian school at the time. We reconnected. Andy had heart issues, and Andy ended up having to have an external pump that would pump his heart. He'd take a shower with it, he'd play golf with it. It went everywhere he did. He ended up going on vacation. He and I are the same age. So Andy would have been 50. He would have been 51 or 52 at the time. I think I'm like 3 weeks older than he is. Jody goes on vacation with his family, has a massive heart attack, and dies while he's on vacation in a restaurant. Just, it's over. And we hear the news, and I'm devastated. I reached out to his family and I said, "Hey, I just wanted to share something with you." And it was that video interview that video podcast that we did telling his story. His dad, at his memorial service, his dad comes up to me and he goes, "You don't know what a gift you gave me and our family."
Wow.
He said, he told things on your podcast about me that I didn't know how he felt about me.
Mm. Wow.
And he's now burying his son. Now his dad, anytime that he misses Andy, he's got that link. He can go hear Andy's words on video, and Andy will never die to his family because they can go back and that's why I did the video podcast that I did. Every episode of the Intentional Encourager podcast is on YouTube, and it's videoed, because I wanted to do that for my family.
Mm-hmm.
So that anytime that they want, if I was gone, anytime if they missed me, which why would they? I mean, it would be like a relief for them if I were gone. But it was that I want to save that and preserve that for but Jody, I didn't realize that I was doing something for somebody else that they were going to get far more value out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy was a youth pastor when he died.
Wow.
And so now his kids that he had as a youth minister. He could go watch that
Yeah.
video. His wife could go back and watch that video anytime she misses her husband. It's there. And it's just two old friends that knew each other since we were 8, 9 years old, just talking, sharing and things like that. So again, man, what you're doing is awesome. It's wonderful. Um, and again, I just want to be an encourager in your corner to continue to uh to help out with that. But man, it's an awesome thing you're doing because you never know, man. You may have a guest on and you may read about their obituary in the paper or something. You may, that's kind of old school, right? You don't read their obituary in the paper,
Yeah.
but
I
you
know
may hear about the yeah.
I've done over 150 shows, and I know two people who have passed away that I interviewed. Lulu Roman, she was on Hee Haw for
Yeah.
years. I had her on my podcast, and hearing her story, and after she'd passed, and another gentleman, I'm like, wow, I had the chance to talk with them within a year, and they had passed. I'm like, that just still gives me chills that I was able to connect with them and just have them on the show. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
I did a podcast with Phil Robertson, and of course Phil passed away. His son Al's a good friend of mine, and yeah, they Phil wrote a book a few years back called Jesus Politics, and I spent probably close to an hour with he and Al, uh, and I've got that saved. I mean, it's pretty incredible. But again, Jody, the people we get to talk to, the people you've gotten to talk to, the people I got to talk to, friends or people that you admired from afar that became friends. Lulu Roman was a part of that Gaither series. My cousin plays drums for the Gaither vocal band, and it's he's Michael Rousey. He's married to my cousin Bridget. So yeah, it's a cool thing there. But people you think to yourself, man, I'd love to talk with them and things like that. And you never know, man. It's such a small world. People are, you know, I did have a guy, I'll share this with you. I did have a guy that I wanted to talk to, and he was like, well, my time's pretty valuable. I charge like $150 to do a podcast. And I'm like, yeah, it's not a good fit for me. Because because I've talked to people that have large, like Phil Robertson. He had he had a way larger platform than this guy did. And you know what Phil charged me to do my podcast? Zero.
Yeah.
Tom Ziegler, his dad Zig. Tom's a friend of mine. Tom charged me to do zero. And so again, just keep reaching for the stars there. Keep reaching for the people that you want to talk to, and somebody that's watching this, Jody. If they want to do what you're doing and what I've done, man, it's so simple. Just get you a good video camera and a microphone and just start talking to people, and you just never know who the Lord's going to send your way.
So, what inspired you to begin your podcast, and how many episodes you said you finally put that away for now? But what inspired you for the Intentional Encourager podcast, and how did that impact? How many years did you do that?
Well, 20 years, almost 20 years of live radio filling in for a buddy of mine doing talk shows. I had people that told me for a few years before that, you ought to do a podcast. And then COVID hit in 2020, and all of a sudden I had time to do a podcast. And I've got a friend of mine, Jason Romano. Jason used to work at ESPN. He was on a ton of shows. His last show that he was on at ESPN was Mike and Mike in the Morning. Remember Mike and Mike?
Yep.
Okay, Jason was on Mike and Mike. Jason was a huge help to me because, helping with the broadcasting side of it. Because, Jody, the thing about it is you go into a radio station or a studio, you've done that. I mean, the equipment is just, you think you've got to have all this equipment and things like that. That was the biggest hang up that I had to overcome was I had to make it. I spent a lot more money than I should have. If I could go back to 2020, I would say, hey, dude, really you only need about three things. You need a really good webcam, you need a really good USB microphone, and you need a good computer. And that's really all you need. And so yeah, and video platforms like this and things like that. So um but yeah, that's what got me started. What the reason that I quit, um it just got to be more time consuming. I was doing all the editing, I was doing the producing, I was doing the booking, and I was hosting it. And at the time, I my work travel, I was traveling from here to Oklahoma and Arkansas. And so
Interview you're in a hotel room number of years ago, I think, and you're on the go
yeah,
then.
we did a podcast. Yeah, we did a podcast together. I think we recorded either mine or your iteration of Chit and Chat at the time. I was in a parking lot in a shopping center on Long Island. Yeah,
Oh,
that was fun. That was but I did a lot but again, to do that podcast, I would have to take equipment on the road with I'd take a USB mic with me, a webcam. I got it to where it was nice and portable, but I still had to take stuff with me.
yeah,
I took a green piece of fabric with me. I'd stick it in my suitcase, and then I'd get in the hotel room and I'd hang it where the curtains are in the hotel room. I'd hang that green piece of fabric so that I could put my virtual background behind it. So it was
yeah,
interesting the stuff, the little the setups that I had in hotel rooms and things like that. But it just got to be time consuming, and for me, it started to consume more time. Like I wanted to go out and do stuff in the evening. I want, if I wanted to go eat dinner and then go, I wanted to go eat dinner and then go walk around the mall for a little bit. I didn't have time to because I had to go back and edit a podcast or record a podcast. I mean, there were
yeah,
several times I'd go try to squeeze in a dinner real quick before recording something, and it just got to the point where I was like,
yeah.
I think I'm good.
It's very hard being the one man band. I took 2025
Yeah,
off the entire year. I just didn't know what
yeah.
to do. And thank goodness Paul Racey, who edits my shows and adds music, and it's nice having someone help with the time of editing. So I'm with you because I got a full time job as well, and I was getting doing shows every week. Now I do 2 shows a month, and I just kind of prep for an interview. I write everything down. But yeah, I'm with you. But I listen, enjoy doing this, and do you have a show that came to mind that you did that was really powerful? I guess I remember you unforgettable moment you had on a show you did that really you won't forget.
Oh man. Oh wow.
So many to choose from, huh?
There was a guy that passed away, a guy named Steve Sullivan. Steve came on my podcast twice. The first time Steve came on, I asked him, I said, one question I would ask is I would say, hey, if you could kind of get in a time machine and you could go back and have coffee with yourself in a certain time of your life, what do you think you would say? And Steve began to open up to me, and he talked about the time when he was going through leukemia when his wife left him. That was a blow-away moment.
Mm,
Like, okay, this guy is going through leukemia, and then all of a sudden his wife just taps out. Like, okay, I've got a major health issue, and now I'm dealing with going through divorce.
mm,
And that was just like but Jody, here's the thing, and you know this from doing shows where you interview people. Okay. You've got to be prepared for anything.
oh, yeah.
You really do. And if you build enough trust with them and you open up with them and connect with them, then you're going to get that kind of that punch moment, that real punchy moment where people just open up to you. That one stands out to me the most. That
Mm,
one over 300 episodes. That one stands out to me. I'll tell you the guest. There are two guests that I wish I could have had on that I didn't have on. One of them's passed away and one of them's still here. Okay. One was the first guy that ever hired me, a guy named Harry Dennery. Harry died pretty suddenly. And I always wanted to have Harry on, and it just didn't work out to do it. The other one was my mom. Because I wanted to sit down with my mom, because my mom has been through a ton of stuff in her life. And if I ever fire up a podcast again, I'm going to make my mom sit down in front of a microphone and tell her story.
Show, I'd love to have we could co-host together. We have your mom on. I'd love to invite you.
Oh, that would be, yeah. Well, that would be, I would have to do some, yeah, but I appreciate that. I'd have to do some coercing there, because my mom's story is real unique. And, again, it's just, I don't know if I'll podcast again. I want to get through this ministerial licensing stuff, and there's a couple of things I want to do, but stuff like this is fun for me. I mean, this scratches the itch, to be honest. It really does. So thank you for having me on. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
I've co-hosted a couple of shows, both audio, not a video yet, and just to have someone you can banter with a guest. Oh my gosh, it's like you see a different perspective totally. Raymond Hayden and I interviewed Joel Gibson Jr., musician here in Marshall, and oh my goodness, it was so much fun having someone that we kind of outlined together, and it was preparing for that was so much fun. I want to get back to your hats. Share about your books, and what kind of inspired you to write a couple of books.
Well, I wish I'd grabbed it. I wish I'd have grabbed them to show everybody, but People Buy From People was written in 2020. That was to honor my dad. That was the 10 powerful people lessons from the ultimate people person, my dad. I thought it was going to be a sales book. It ended up being a book about connection. And so that was to honor my dad. And then intentional encouragement was that I'm more proud of anything that I've ever done. That's the one thing I'm really super proud of, even above professional accomplishments, things like that, because I do believe this, Jody. I really sincerely believe this. I believe if people will get that book, they will understand more about their own internal belief system and how they can really use that internal belief system to change everything about them. How you think about yourself will change how you do everything. Mark Cuban said that. How you do anything is how you do everything. And so I'm really super proud of that. Been kicking around doing the sequel to the book called The Intentional Encourager, talking about how now that it's what we've been talking about today, once you get yourself in line, once you know how to encourage yourself, how do you encourage other people? And so, yeah, that may be the second iteration, but again, I want to get, I got things bouncing in my head. So I want to get a couple other things done first.
Earlier in the podcast, I asked you if you could stay with any athlete to talk, have a chat. You said King Griffey Jr.
All right.
I see behind you, you're a Bengals fan, a Reds fan, Marching Thunder Herd fan. How are you connected to Cincinnati, even though you live in West Virginia?
Because Cincinnati is the closest market to us. Okay. We are technically in the Reds' home market. So we have a radio station that I did a lot of work for, WVHU in Huntington. They are the Reds affiliate. They've been a longtime Reds affiliate. 6 years ago, Jody, you'll remember this name. You'll remember these two names. Do you remember a guy named Buddy Bell? He's the third baseman for the Rangers and the Indians. Buddy Bell was a Reds third baseman. Well, at the time, his son David Bell was the manager of the Reds.
Yep.
And so at a Caravan, we got to interview Buddy Bell, huge college basketball fan. I didn't know that, but Buddy Bell was a huge college basketball fan, was a longtime season ticket holder to Xavier University there in Cincinnati. And then we interviewed Eric Davis, former Reds. Great player. I told my wife, I said, if you don't get a picture of Eric Davis and I, do not come home. Because Eric was, I had when I was a teenager, I had the Eric the Red poster. When I was like 14, 15 years old, I had the Eric the Red poster in my bedroom. So That was cool. But yeah, we are technically in the Reds home market, and we're technically in the Bengals home market. So when I was a kid, Reds and Bengals were the teams. Oklahoma City, I went to
Yeah,
two
that's about
Thunder
the next part. I'm like, how does that get connected? 'Cause
when I was working out there. I went to two Thunder games, and they prayed before each game, and I thought I'm going to be a fan of this team. They're the only pro sports team I've ever seen that prayed before games. Even last year in the NBA Finals, when they were in the finals, they had prayer before each game, and I'm like, man, alive, I'm going to be a fan of that team. So
I'm still a little
love the Thunder.
our green team, the Sonics, was the Thunder. You know,
Yeah, but you guys are going to get the Sonics back at some point because the NBA is going to expand. They're going to expand to Las Vegas, and they're going to expand to Seattle.
I was just curious about how Oklahoma got involved in your favorite team.
Yeah, you guys are going to get the Sonics back. Don't worry about that. They're going to get the Sonics. But no, it's because they prayed before each game, and I'm like, hey, I'm a Christian. Like I'm down with that. So
Cool. That's cool.
yeah. And I went to Marshall. I grew up, growing up here in the tri-state. I watched Randy Moss play here. I watched Chad Pennington play here. I watched Byron Leftwich play here. Troy Brown, who had a long career with the Patriots. Um, we just this week, if you're a basketball fan, Mike D'Antoni, who played at Marshall, coached the Phoenix Suns, coached the New York Knicks, coached the Los Angeles Lakers, coached the Houston Rockets. Mike D'Antoni is going to be inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame this coming year. Mike's a son of Marshall. In fact, his brother Mark is a friend of mine, and got to throw cornhole with Mike D'Antoni one time. That was pretty cool. So yeah, but that's how I became a fan of the teams that I am a fan of.
You mentioned earlier about a legacy, leaving a legacy. When people listen to your podcast, what's your goal when you're podcasting, and what do you hope people feel after listening to your podcast and the shows you did, and intentionally encouraging people? Everyone has a story, and so kind of what was your goal in your podcasting?
That no matter who you are, there's something that connects everybody to everybody.
Mm.
There's one little nugget that connects everybody to everybody. So life is not unique. You know, most people, for 40 years of my life, I didn't know what it was like to lose a parent. Now I do. I have a friend of mine that just lost her dad suddenly yesterday. I know
Mm.
exactly what she's going through. I know exactly what she's going through. I can help her. But Jody, again, in everybody's story, and you know this, there's connective tissue in everybody's story. And it doesn't matter if you live in Washington State and I live in West Virginia, your story, and there's parts of your story that I can connect with, and there's parts of my story that you can connect with. So no matter who you are, there's connective tissue in everybody's story.
For sure, yeah. If you could leave our listeners today with some final encouragement, and even though your podcasting don't hold, you have other chapters in your life you're going through, you're still encouraging people. You're still an intentional encourager to people. That's some final words for us, for folks out there who maybe listening, or wherever they're at in their life, whether they're starting singing, like a gospel singer, like I love gospel music or whatever it could be. What's some encouraging words you can share with someone today?
Jody, I'm going to tell you something. Opinions will change. Beliefs are much harder to change.
Mm.
Okay. People have opinions of themselves. But if you can get somebody to believe in themselves, that is something that will change their world. Here's what I mean by that. You can think something about yourself. It's an opinion. Okay. I've been wrong on a lot of things. I've had opinions that were wrong because I was presented with some facts that I didn't have. Beliefs are where facts are. The beliefs are based in facts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when somebody believes in something, as Christians, Jody, it's going to be very hard for people to convince us there is no God. It's going to be very hard for people to convince us that our walk with the Lord is just a fairy tale. No, you're not going to. I believe in God. I believe in the power of the cross. I believe the Bible. I believe every word of the Bible is true.
Mm-hmm.
When people get beliefs about themselves positively, and that's the key word, positively, when you know beyond a shadow of a doubt positive things about yourself, you unlock powerful things within yourself. And then once you start unlocking powerful things within yourself, then you become an unstoppable force. So no matter what you do, you have that powerful positive belief supporting you. So my advice to people, my one thing is change the opinion about yourself to the belief about yourself.
Yeah.
And don't listen to other opinions about yourself, because my mom told me this a long time ago. Opinions are like armpits. Everybody's got them and they stink. And so start believing positive things about yourself, and it will change everything around you.
You've spent your life helping people feel seen, valued, encouraged, and this came through today in our conversation. I really appreciate it. We could probably go hours, but thank you so much for your time. All you do, the many hats you wear, putting God first in all your everything in your life. And I think it's more important, so important that you do that. Otherwise, when God's on the back burner, you're not blessed, and you can't encourage people when you have everything else going on. You don't have a kind of God focused, centered, true north in your life. And so thank you for the time today. Really appreciate connecting with you and wishing you the best. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it.
I'm excited to introduce you to an artist whose passion for music runs deep and genuine. After decades of performing and recording, Henry Stoll launched the Rising Shine Project as a way to bring his songwriting to life, exactly the way he envisioned it. Every melody, every lyric, every idea starts with him, and now with the tools to shape those ideas into fully realized songs. He writes it all his own music himself, and uses AI not as a shortcut, but as a creative amplifier. Sometimes he even uploads recordings so the system can learn his sound and help him produce cleaner, more polished versions. Pretty cool. It's still his heart, his voice, his stories. AI simply helps him create the quality he's always heard in his head. I think it's so cool. I use Copilot and other programs often when I'm thinking of a question for an interview that I write it down going, this doesn't sound right. So I'll put it in AI and it gives me a polished question. I'm like, that is what I'm looking for. So I go on a rabbit hole there, but it comes in very, very handy. So it can be a powerful tool to anyone to use it. Anyway, let's play Henry Stoll's song, Set the Night on Fire. Enjoy.
Some of us are born with a hunger. Some of us are born with a thirst. Some of us can hear voices calling. Some of us are doomed with a curse. Some need the music like some need breath. Some can't even breathe without it. Some cling to the rhythm like it's life and death. Some of us even dream about it. Well, maybe you could turn and walk away. That ain't the way that I'm made. I grab my guitar and let the angels play. Before the sunlight fades, I'll set the night on fire. Set the night on fire. people just can't fight the beat. Well, maybe you can turn and walk away. That ain't the way that I'm made. I grab my guitar and let the angels play. Before the sunlight fades, I'll set the night on fire. Set the night on fire. Fire. Set the night on fire. Fire. Set the night on fire.
Are you getting hungry? Head on down to Tequiza and Tequiza Street in Sordell, where they have 6 kinds of tacos waiting for you. Perhaps get your order to go and take it home. Maybe buy lunch for someone. And come on down and try our great tasting flavors. Chimichangas, grilled jalapenos, and much, much more. And buy a gift card for that special someone. Get a platter for the whole family and have some great tasting, authentic Mexican food. And street fries as well. That's Tequiza and Tequiza Street in Sordell. Great tasting, authentic Mexican food made fresh. Craving something sweet, fresh, and downright unforgettable? Swing by Lone Star Donuts, where every donut is made hot, handcrafted, and packed with Texas-sized flavor from over 50 flavors. From classic glaze to bold new creations, there's perfect bite waiting for you at Lone Star Donuts. The last song we'll be playing today is by Bo Taylor, his song One Honky Tonk at a Time. I'm excited to introduce to you as a rising artist from Texas. Bo Taylor from Mineral Wells, Texas, has recently reached out to me to share some of his music. And his song One Honky Tonk at a Time is a tune that captures Bo's down-to-earth charm and his love for storytelling through country music. He's hoping to join us for an interview down the road, and I think you're going to really like this song. So let's crank it up for Bo Taylor's One Honky Tonk at a Time.
Seems the more I try to get ahead, the more I fall behind. The more I try to make it all make sense, the more I lose my mind. I ain't never been a gambler, 'cause I never had nothing to lose. And I ain't real big on whiskey, 'cause I never could hold my booze. But I still roll one, drank a cold one. Hell, I don't need no break. I keep it running wide open, rolling on to another town, playing my song for another crowd. Gotta keep on living my life, one honky tonk at a time. Well, you know I like to work in a few old haggard songs. They don't like rambling man, so they're saying where I
Today's Mental Minute. Who has seen the movie The Pursuit of Happiness starring Will Smith? It's based on a true story of the life of Chris Gardner. In one scene, the basketball court scene, Chris's son is shooting some hoops, dreaming big. Chris, worn down by life, tells him not to expect much. But then he catches himself, kneels down and says, "Don't let anyone tell you can't do something, especially me." You know, life can beat us down. Can beat the dream out of us sometime. Bills, routines, disappointments, they whisper that dreaming is for kids. But that scene reminds us that something is limiting us. They're holding us back. And it's us. Today, give yourself permission to dream. I love a song by Ryan Shoop and the Rubber Band called Dream Big. Protect your dream the way Chris learned to protect his son. You don't need the perfect conditions. You just need the courage to believe in what's possible. That's today's Mental Minute. What a fun time we had today talking to Brian Sexton. And he's a man who just doesn't talk about encouragement. He lives it with intention and purpose in his heart. Today he reminded us that encouragement isn't something we stumble across. It's something we choose. It's something we practice. It's something we give freely because we never know who might be holding on by a thread, waiting for a word that can lift them up. His journey, the lessons he learned from his father, the creation of the Intentional Encourager podcast, shows us every story matters, and I truly, truly believe that every voice matters, and every moment of kindness has the power to change someone's life. Also, thank you today to Claire Cunningham, Henry Stoll, and Bo Taylor for sharing their amazing gift of music with us today. Also, check out the sponsors: Tequila Street, Lone Star Donuts, Wine About It, and The Great Escape, all locally owned and operated in Silverdale and Port Orchard, Washington. As we close out today, I hope you carry with you the same message Brian carries into every conversation. Be present, be the encourager for someone who didn't know they needed. Like this content, please follow for more. Check out my podcast at chitandchatpodcast.com. We're on Spotify and iHeartRadio. It's Chit and Chat, the encouraging one another podcast. It's always about encouraging others. Check us out and follow us. And if you have a story and you'd like to come on, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you, get you on, and share your story. Or if you're a musician who wants to get your song out there, I'd love to help in that as well. You can contact me through my website or social media apps as well. As always, have a great day. My name's Jody, and this is Chit and Chat, the encouraging one another podcast. It's always about encouraging others. Till next time, drink coffee, drink up.